We are back on the support page for a new tier list. You may have seen previously we actually did one for the rarity of everything. However, this time we're actually going to be doing a different one. This one being on is it actually worth you picking up these items for the price that they were?
Yes. So pretty much, this goes over what do we think are these items worth picking up at the store. Now, of course, we're not going to be bouncing back and forth between old and new prices. Whatever the price stands now is the price we are going off of, because as you know, in 2022, we did have the price change in some of the items. So pretty much 2018, we're going to keep all those prices the same. Whatever the prices are now to the newer items that moved on to now, we're going to be going off of those prices. And do we think they're worth it?
So, without further delay, let's get into D. So it's going to be the exact same, except this time D is going to be like the absolute worst, the ones we won't recommend, to S tier being the ones that we recommend, the ones that are definitely the best in the collection that we, for hands down, get every single year if we needed to. But let's get into D tier. So D tier is going to have a few items, unfortunately, that we just wouldn't recommend, and we'll explain why in a minute. So those few being the Edison bulb, if I can move it, there we go. Got the icicles, and the snowman set. So all these items are D tier, and definitely the ones we wouldn't recommend you get. Oh, one more, the 2022 snowflakes. They're our least favorite snowflakes out of the three.
Yes. So now, here's the reason why we put there's a reason why we put these in their spot. Now, the snowman set, does it have an interesting design to it? Yes. Now, for the price point of it, I really don't think it's worth it. Just the way it looks, programs, all that. It looks very bright. It makes your display look really bright. Like, I don't want to blind anybody going to the house. So, like, if I were to put a bunch of snowman sets or a bunch of snowflake sets, and that is meaning instead of three, not the set of eights. If I were to put a bunch of set of threes, snowflake sets and snowman sets, stuff like that, it's going to look really blind to other people. So that's why I simply don't like to use them. And also, they're at the $60 price point for three. For only three steaks. So every 3 steaks, you got to buy another one, which that can get very expensive very quick. If you're wondering why we put the Edison bulb inside this place, is there is not very many uses for it, and because it's a indoor-only product. If it was a indoor-outdoor product, we might be talking a different story here. But there really is not much of a place to use the Edison bulb. Like, you have to have a specific house set up. You gotta have nice wall sconces that can fit the Edison bulbs, and you have to make it look good. If not set up, then there's no point in picking up the Edison bulb.
Yeah, unfortunately, the only thing we really used it for was the custom snow flurries, but that's about it.
Yeah, which that, by the way, I know we talked about that in the previous video, but an update on that, that is not a very good idea, and I would not recommend doing that.
Just definitely try and find an original if you can.
Yes.
And so the next tier, I think, is only going to actually consist of one item, believe it or not, and that's the net set. I definitely think the net set's overpriced for what you're getting, and it's not that big, so you need a whole bunch of nets to cover a bush if you ever wanted to do them. So that's why we have the nets this slow.
Yeah. So the net set, I want to actually talk about this really quick because not very many people know this. A quick little thing about the net set, and actually also going into the tree, is that it says it has replacement bulbs. However, they are not replacement bulbs. In other words, here's what I mean. If you pull a bulb out on the net set, you pull a bulb in a completely different spot on the net set, you swap them. The program from the bulb that you pulled out from the first socket you pulled from, the programming just went with the bulb and it's going to look off. So you can't just swap around light bulbs. the programming is specific to each bulb. Now, if you were to take one of the replacement light bulbs and put it into that slot, then it's just a white bulb. You turn it on and off, you go and try and change all the different colors, it's going to stay white. So I would not recommend the net for a couple reasons. One, they're way too small. You're very limited on what you're able to do. You have to buy a lot of them to cover a huge bush. And the bulbs that come with it, they don't have actual replacement bulbs. They are specific to their spots, and the bulbs are just simply filler bulbs to get the string back up and running.
And that applies to two other items, the Tree Duo and this year's tree. They both have that same problem.
Yes.
But without further delay, let's go into the next tier. So I believe the next tier is going to consist of a few items, but we'll explain why in a little bit, why I feel like they should be in this tier. So that's going to be the other 3 pathway sets, like the like the gifts and the snowflake set, as well as the dancing icicles, believe it or not. But we'll get into why we think they are B tier. Oh, they're right here. I was trying to find them for a second, but there we go. So basically, it's basically the same thing like the snowmans that we talked about earlier. The only reason why they're in B tier is because they're definitely better. But again, you need to get a whole bunch of them to cover a long pathway.
Yeah, so they're only a couple feet long. They're not the longest thing in the world, and for $60 to cover 4 feet, that's a lot of money. It takes a lot to do it, and also you'll basically be seeing the same program every 4 feet. It doesn't cover that much.
So, we got some things that have been very close. So, kind of like the rarity, we got some 50-50s. But definitely let us know if you think that they deserve the spots that they do, or if you think that they should be higher or lower. So, we got a few things in A and we got a few things in S. So, let's quickly go over them. So, in A tier, we got the candy canes, the wreath, the hanging snowflake. We got the projector set with 3, the G100s. We got also the 2 other artificial items. So the wreath, or not the wreath, but the garland and topiary. I feel like those are all definitely A tier items in my book.
Yeah, so they pretty much made it to the top of the list, where if I were to buy them, I would definitely buy them again. Now, there's a couple items that we thought were a little bit overpriced, like the Tree Duo. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, that's also probably an A tier item. I should move up there real quick.
It's the best item in the Orchestra of Lights collection. However, for the price point, I think it was a little bit too high for it. However, it has everything pretty much like that I could ask for. So, like, the design is really nice. The plastic skirts do get in the way a little bit. However, it's like once and done, it just snaps in and it's good. The base is built of really nice quality. The poles, I do have a complaint about those, that they sometimes get stuck on you, and you have to be really careful on how you put them together and make sure you don't twist them and then they get stuck sometimes. But other than that, it's been a flawless item.
So, actually, we got a couple of things to put in different tiers real quick. One being another A tier item, being this year's minis. Now, you may be like, how are these not an S tier item? As we mentioned in the lineup video, we just don't like the fact that they've been shortened.
Yeah, the minis this year are great. The only complaint I have about them is that they've been shortened. They decreased them to about half the size in the original 2018. I simply don't like that.
And another one that is not going to be in S tier, but we're going to cover it real quick because we didn't put it in the correct tier yet. That is this year's tree and C tier. Now, you may be like, how is it that low on the list? Don't get me wrong, I definitely like it. But for the price, the programming and the way it was designed should definitely have been changed.
Yeah. The new tree, like we said, it looks nice. Yes. And I think it's a little bit too bright. It kind of outstands from everything else. And the programming for the regular light shows look good, except for the song loop or the song selection. They did not do a very good job when programming the songs and how they look. They don't match any of the other Orchestra of Lights items. It kind of looks like it sits there and just blinks.
I mean, they honestly, I felt like they should have just given us the tall tree programming from the duo, and that would have been good.
Yeah.
But there is actually also, basically, I feel like the rest of these definitely are S tier items, because I definitely feel like that they definitely have a spot. I definitely feel like they all have a reason to be there. So we're going to do the C9s, the Snow Flurry, the set of 5, the 2018 minis, the 2018 Snowflake set, the tubes, the set, and the final 3 speaker items that we actually didn't cover. So that would be the outdoor speaker, the light show box with speaker, and actually the other set of 5s here. So now you may be like, how are all these items higher up? Because I just feel like the value for them is great, and I feel like they have hit everything correctly with all these items.
Yep. So they're pretty much spot on with most of these items. Like, for example, the tubes, I think they're fantastic. They have such amazing programming, and they can be used for any holiday. So if you have a place that you're not using them for 360 degrees, they look absolutely fantastic. The Snowflake set is hands down my favorite pathway set in the entire Orchestra of Lights collection. Not because of anything else like programming and all that. It's because of the design. I think the Snowflake set is my favorite item in the entire collection because of its design. The set of 5 in black, they also did a very good job designing that because it could be used for any holiday. I did not like when they switched over to the present casing because simply now you're just limited to Christmas only.
So I think we should actually then bump the set of 5 Christmas one, or the present one, down to A for that reason.
Yes.
But everything else, now you may be like, well, how is the Snow Flurry and the outdoor speaker, the 2 budget items in S tier? That's because, again, they're budget items. There may be people that don't need the outlets for the speaker and just want a speaker for a cheaper price. So that's where that comes into play. Same with the Snow Flurry. There may be people that want a Snow Flurry for just a small spot. And that's where that comes into play. And I definitely like the ones that I have.
Yeah. Now, here's another thing about this, is that you could be spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars in Orchestra of Lights. However, you could also make it very cheap with the Snow Flurry, outdoor speaker, and a hub. Like, those 3 items right there, you could have a very simple, very quiet light show for just a simple house for $120. It's a very, very easy way to just get some music, get some light. Those 2 items, they nailed it. Like, those 2 items, they just absolutely nailed it. The outdoor speaker allows just for music. It gives you $50 to just do music. If you don't go with the outdoor speaker, you have to spend about $100 for anything else.
Yes.
The Snow Flurry is a cheap projection. However, it lights up the whole house. So you can put it on your house, and then it looks good. It just looks like some projection and something to light up the house. And then, of course, the reason why I say 120 is because of the hub.
But yeah, that is basically our thoughts on all the Orchestra of Lights products. Again, you may be like, why are the Dancing Icicles down at B? Because they're $80 and the quality isn't that good. But other than that, this is our complete tier list on all the different Orchestra of Lights products from 2018 to 2024. Again, let us know in the comments if you would definitely change it, because, but I think this is good for our tier list for value. But either way, let us know in the comments if you agree with us or not, and thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Peace out.